Mast cells are the main driving factor behind autoimmune disease. This is what I learned after 15 years of research and going through it myself and overcoming it. Mast cells are the thing that people are really not talking about when it comes to autoimmune disease. And why do these cells matter? Because they're the head immune cell that tells all the other cells what to do. So they send out the inflammatory molecules that influence all the other immune cells, and they are the origin, the symptoms of autoimmune disease. So if you have autoimmune disease, what you really have is hyperactivated mast cells that are sending inflammatory molecules out there that are causing your flares, right? And if you could identify why the flares are occurring, then you could stop the flares, and then your immune system could calm down. The mast cells can reduce in population, reduce in reactivity. Another cell that no one's talking about when it comes to autoimmune disease is the regulatory T cell, the Treg. And this is absolutely critical. When you have overactive mast cells and not enough regulatory T cells, then you have a overreactive immune system now reacting to foods. You're reacting to what's in the air, the mycotoxins. You're reacting to chemicals in the air. You're reacting to thoughts, stressors, all these different things that affect your immune system. So if you want to heal from autoimmune disease, you have to target the mast cells and the regulatory T cells in everything you do. If you don't think about these cells and how what you're doing affects them, you're going to go backwards and you're going to call it autoimmune disease or a flare, whatever you want to call it. So the things that affect the mast cells and regulatory T cells the most, okay, we'll start with the mast cells. Mast cells, what we're eating or taking, okay? So it could be anything you're consuming. It could be dairy, eggs, nuts and seeds, gluten, processed food, eating too much meat, food additives, things like that. It can also be supplements you're taking, medication you're taking. This can aggravate the mast cells. The number two thing that aggravates mast cells is going to be the mycotoxins, mold toxins. This is huge because most homes have mold in them, or all homes have mold in them, and some of them have high levels of toxic mold. And once you become sensitive to this, you start to have all kind of systemic symptoms that they call autoimmune disease, when in fact it could be a reaction to something you're inhaling, just like it could be a reaction to something you're consuming. So we talked about the food, we talked about the environment. The next part is going to be stressors, okay, stressors. This could be physical stress, could be emotional stress, could be thoughts you're thinking, perceptions you're having about you in relation to reality. All these things can affect your mast cells. Even just thinking something that threatens you causes your mast cells to send out inflammatory molecules, which makes your symptoms worse, right? So it's your thoughts that are affecting as well. Now the regulatory T cells, what affects the regulatory T cells? Chronic stress, chronic perceptual stress, chronic physical stress. This knocks out your regulatory T cells. Your immune system then becomes intolerant to all the things I mentioned before, and you start to have these flares, and the immune system starts attacking itself. This is what I experienced. This is what autoimmune disease is. If you have questions about autoimmune disease, reach out to me. I went through it, look at my background. I had that. I had various other issues as well that I overcame. Take care.